In the last clip, I made some bold statements. I make the statement that blacks are not citizens of the United States of America. I used the 14th Amendment and I used the Civil Rights Act of 1866 to show you that they do not include the term black in any of them, or African American. If we were to backtrack, when we're talking about citizenship in this country, one has to look at the Naturalization Acts. These tell the timeline of citizenship in this country. The first one was in 1790. In 1790, they made it very clear that only free white persons, and they left out indentured servants, slaves, women, Asians, very, very clear. In the next one, 1795, they only changed two parts of it, only in two areas. None of them was accepting blacks. 1798, the same thing. None of them dealt with changing the law for blacks. Like the Naturalization Act of 1790, 95, and this one in 1798, they all restrict citizenship to free white persons. So when we understand the history of the Naturalization Acts, they don't differ from the first in much at all, other than how long you have to be here in order to be considered. 2 years versus 5 years versus 14. Naturalization Act of 1870 is the one that is most important, because this is the one that mentions Africans. Now look how in the law they know who blacks are. They know exactly who blacks are. There's been much legislation to deal with blacks in this country. Do they use blacks here? No. 1870 is noted for the extending of the naturalization process to aliens of African nativity and to persons of African descent. Did it change the fact that only free white persons were citizens here? No. When they say they extended the naturalization process, they extended whiteness. They extended whiteness to include people from Africa. How can I say that? Do I have any proof of that? Let's go to the SF 181. Excuse me. No. Here we go. In the definition of white, a person having origins in any of the original peoples of Europe, Middle East, or North Africa. Descendants of Africa, of African nativity. There you are in the definition of white. How can I be so specific to say that? Well, the only category that has original people and Africa is white. The other reference to Africa does not include original people, black racial groups. See, they know how to use black in the law. They know how to use it. They put it where they need to. Black, black. Not original, not a citizen. Not in the law. This act extended whiteness for people of African descent, for the former slaves. But you have to choose white in order to be protected in the law. You are a citizen and can be a citizen through the Naturalization Act of 1870, which extended it particularly to you. But you have to read in between the lines, because they're not going to use black. They never made blacks citizens. They extended whiteness to people of African descent through this act. And so when I say citizenship is not for blacks, it never has been. And when you want your citizenship, it's through that piece of legislation that particularly named people of African descent. But understand that the extension was the extension of whiteness into citizenship. And here's your proof that Africans, people of African descent, can be a part of the category called white. It's through the law of 1870, the Naturalization Act.